Lemon here from Lemonade. Hope you're well. So these are 4 things that I feel as women we need to master before we enter marriage, because it will help us to remain in our feminine energy, and help us to perform the role that God gave us more eloquently. Okay, not in any order. So the first one I'm going to talk about is communication. Yes, communication. So James 1:19 says, "So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath." And I think as women, communication is important, not just in what we're saying, but how we're saying it, the tone that we're using, the timing that we're choosing to communicate, and also our body language as well, because you understand that most of the communication is done through our body language and not necessarily our words. So it's really important that we, especially like the difficult conversations, that we choose an appropriate time to communicate them, and that we don't come across combative, and we also learn what type of words to use in order to communicate, so we don't come across nagging, because the Bible says that it's better to be somewhere else in the rooftop than with a nagging wife, right? So we don't want to come across as nagging. We want to stay in our feminine, and feminine energy, it flows and it's peaceful and it's loved, right? We're loved, and so we're in a marriage and we love one another, and so we need to learn how to communicate in love, walk in love, just like the Bible says. So I think that's something, a really important skill that we need to learn before we get into marriage. Okay. So the second thing we need to master before we enter marriage is our emotions. 100%. Some women are good at this, but a lot of women are not. We need to learn how to communicate when we're feeling emotional, and there are many different reasons why we might feel emotional. It could be our time of the month. It could be something that we're going through. We could be stressed. It could just be that we feel hurt or disrespected in some way. But no matter how we feel, we need to learn how to communicate without being over emotional. We have to practice sobriety. Now, sobriety isn't just for Alcoholic Anonymous. Sobriety is being able to control your emotions also. You have to do it sober-mindedly, because if you're being led by your emotions, you're not in your right mind. So when the Bible tells us to practice sobriety, that comes under it too. I mean, if you research it, actually does mention emotions, because if we're continually coming from a place of being emotional, it's going to hinder our communication. It's going to hinder how we respect our man, and we don't want to be one of those women that are arguing in public, because when people see us disrespecting our man in public, our husbands in public, they will not respect our husbands either. And once your husband feels disrespected, the marriage is going to get very tough. So another thing we need to master before we enter marriage is submission. 100%. We need to learn to let that man lead. And I suggest that we practice that from day one of meeting him, okay? Subtly, not completely, gradually. Obviously, the more you get to know them, and then it's going well, and then you know that you're safe and he's making good decisions and he's a good man, then yes, I suggest that you practice submitting to him from day one. And submission looks like just relaxing, not being in control, allowing him to lead, not thinking what we're going to do next, what's happening next. Let him think, let him plan, let him do everything. Because if you're able to do that from the beginning, then this should give you comfort that he's going to be able to lead you going forward in marriage. So yes, we definitely need to master submission. And the last thing that we need to master before we get into marriage, that will help us remain in our femininity, this is a big one. Like I said, it's not in any order, but this is a big one, is calmness, peace, and silence. Those 3 things. If we can master them, it's gonna literally solve half of our problems, I promise you. I mean, we don't always need to respond. It doesn't matter if we feel wronged or offended. Sometimes it's good to just be quiet, go to a little quiet place and pray to God, give it to God. I've experienced it where I've gone straight to God and God has spoken to him for me. We don't always have to fight our case. God does not need our help. God can speak directly to our husbands, and if we've chosen him to be our husband, then we should trust that he has a good relationship with God, and we should trust in that relationship. Just let go and let God. Be peaceful and be happy. Choose happiness. Sometimes we may really feel like we want to answer back or show him, or no, this is not that, no. But sometimes, I promise you, calmness, being slow to speak, slow to anger, calmness, silence, sometimes they're the best things. And with that said, I hope that this has been an encouraging word for you. And please leave comments, reach out to me. Let's discuss this. God bless you. Lemon from Lemonade.